Hello everyone, it's Cherie. I thought I would do a little impromptu, unscripted update video. I don't know if you can call it a vlog if you're not like showing scenes of like going out and doing stuff. So it's just like a sitting here kind of update video. And also just like go over my TBR, to be read list and my TBV, to be viewed list, because maybe that will inspire me to not have the same things on my list next month if I do this again. All right, so basically updating on the 99% movie. Where we last left you was I had met someone at the Oscar party who is a local producer. She read my script and she agreed to help me co-produce for, at least a few months. So in this pre-production phase, and that's great. So she's helping starting getting the budget together. It's such a long process. I'm actually going to make a video on my other channel for the 99% movie, which if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'll leave a link in the description. I'm going to make a video about mistakes made and lessons learned so far. It might be a series, but it just takes so long to pre-produce something. And I knew that, but I haven't gone through it, so I kind of guesstimated I could do stuff quick and so the producer Kira, she actually has been looking at some like grants. Yeah, we're going to do crowdfunding, but she's also looking into grants, and there's a perfect one. It's movies shot in Silicon Valley with a social message. Perfect. The problem is the submission is due this Friday. I'm recording this on April 28th, Sunday, April 28th. So it's due on Friday, May 3rd. And and it needs like a budget and stuff like that. And we don't have all the stuff ready. Now had I known, maybe we could have worked towards that goal of submitting by that time. And a lot of these grants, it's the same thing with like screenplay contests. It costs money. And I don't like doing that because it's like buying a lottery ticket, except a lot more expensive. It's gambling. You don't know if you're going to get the grant, You don't know if you're going to win the contest. You don't know if you're going to have that winning Mega Million ticket. So anyway, but yeah, so we're Zooming every Friday and talking about it, and so that's where things are. I just put out a video yesterday about breaking down the script, and that helps prepare a budget. So anyway, that's where I'm with the project. Now let's see. Oh, another thing I did was I had a Zoom Friday evening, another Jeff Howard session, and he did something where people would submit the first 10 pages of a script, but they would take off the title page, so he wouldn't know who wrote the script. And he like made notes on it just as if he were the Hollywood gatekeeper, the reader that goes home with 7 scripts over the weekend and has to read them all and figure out if, they want to keep reading or, recommend them, etc. And so it's just kind of brutal because, honestly, like in general, people don't just love reading scripts, especially if that's, your job and you're doing it on the weekends and you're only getting paid, what did he say, like $40 or something. Anyway, so I gave the first 10 pages of Frankie Chase and the Mysterious Creatures. That's an old action adventure script that I wrote. I had rewritten or polished, let's just say I polished it a year and a half ago before I had a table read. But I just wanted to see what Jeff had to say. And it was really interesting because some of the old habits that I had since I've taken his other sessions, I've learned not to do, like paragraphing, for action blocks. Every new action is a new paragraph. I didn't do that. So I had a lot of, the P symbols on my notes. And what else? And I learned this lesson while doing the 99% breakdown. you have to be consistent in how you name things, because when you're saying, okay, we need the protesters, for instance, if you call them protesters in one part of the script, but you call them uh, revolutionaries or co-workers or whatever, like you give them another name, that's bad. And so you want to keep it consistent, so you always use the exact same word for the characters. So in Frankie Chase, it opens with a group of people trying to capture a mountain lion. And back in my old days, it's like, oh, well, let's change it up so you're not always just reading mountain lion, mountain lion, mountain lion. So I'd call it a big cat, or, the creature or whatever. And you don't do that. It always has to be, lion or mountain lion. So that was good. Learned that. God, I feel like there was something else, but I can't really remember it now. So, but I would definitely do that again. If he did another one of those like blind reading kind of things, I would maybe do Dumpster Donna, first 10 pages of that and see what happens. But of course, I would like go through it first to make sure, all my action blocks are paragraphed and everything. So anyway, so that was fun. Now let's just get to, since I've been so busy, I haven't had a lot of time to read. I don't think I've read one book this year. I have a stack, and I have a stack of videos I've rented from the library that I need to get through. I'm not going out to the movies as much, because of time constraints and budgetary issues and stuff. But, the library has tons of stuff. So let's see what I've got on my shelf. All right, DVDs I've checked out from the library. Let's see, I'm going to put it over here. Okay, Z. This one was due back yesterday. I didn't get any renewals on it because someone else wants to see it. But luckily, the library is closed today, so I'm going to watch this today and turn it in tomorrow morning, so it'll be fine. They don't charge you fees anymore at the library. Ever since COVID, they got rid of that. However, if you don't return something after a month, they'll say, well, you owe the money for a replacement. And that usually gets people to bring it back. And also then they don't let you like check out new things if you've got something outstanding like this. So anyway, Z is on the Harvard PhD film list. It's in French, which is nice because I can practice my French. I've watched about 15 minutes of it so far, and it's not my cup of tea, but I'm going to watch it. I think it got the Best Picture Oscar as well. I'm sorry, international. I've seen all the best pictures, and now I'm going through the list of all the best international features. So, so this one I have to finish today, and I'm not really totally enjoying it. It's I don't know, it has kind of 80s vibes. I'll put down here what the year was that it came out, but it's just not doing it for me so far. We'll see how it goes. And the next one is, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Andrei Rublev. Sorry. This was a Russian painter, and this is a Tarkovsky film, and Andrei Tarkovsky was a famous Soviet-era director, and people just adore him. My film instructor at De Anza said, if you haven't watched all of Tarkovsky's movies, you're not ready to direct films. So I'm going through his list. I've seen 3 of the 7, so this would make number 4. I've watched an hour of it. I have a couple more hours to go. And I'm liking certain scenes, but I'm not necessarily vibing with the whole thing. It's a period piece. Again, it's like I'm going to watch it because I need to, but this is not like fun for me. And I do like, what's the Tarkovsky I really like? Ivan's Childhood. And that was his first film. And I just adore that. And I would totally watch that one again. All right. Timbuktu. Again, it was on my list for some reason. And maybe it was an Oscar winner. If it wasn't a winner, it was definitely nominated for International Feature. And right now it's April, which is Arab American Heritage Month. So I'm trying to pick up, like last year, I was doing all the Heritage Months and watching movies from those countries a lot. And there were some that I didn't get to. And so I'm trying to re-pick that back up. So I got that. Same thing with The Insult. I've watched about 10 or 15 minutes of this. Not really vibing with this one either. It's kind of stressful, actually. But that takes place, where does it take place? Is it Palestine or something? Don't remember. The Quiet Girl. This was from Ireland that a lot of people liked a couple of years ago. And I believe it's in Gaelic, Irish Gaelic. So haven't even started this one. Maggie's Plan. So I only got this because Greta Gerwig is starring in it, and I am trying to watch all the Greta Gerwig stuff now. What's the one I watched? It was on, you can find it on Tubi, I think. It was Baghead. It was like a horror movie. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. And then Infinity Pool. This is like a body horror one by one of the Cronenbergs. I've had this, for at least 3 weeks now, and I just haven't popped it open. I have to watch horror in the mornings because if I watch it at night, I'll have nightmares. But I'm just not. I love Mia Goth. She's in this, but I just haven't been compelled to watch this yet. And basically because of my lack of time for things, I've been watching at night, like a half hour of a movie, so I can get through a movie. Maybe I can get through 2 movies in a week, if they're not very long. Okay, and then An Angel at My Table. This is also on the Harvard PhD list, I believe. It's also on this list of like feminist films. It's from the same director that did The Piano, I believe, Jane Campion. I think this is her first movie. Sorry if I'm wrong. I'll put it here if I'm wrong. Yeah, so those are all the ones I have checked out from the library. Let me see what my other ones are now. All right, I got my little bag full of DVDs to be watched. Okay, I love this movie. I've talked about it before, Peace by Chocolate. I actually bought it on DVD. That's how much I loved it. But I haven't watched the DVD yet. But this is definitely, and because Arab American Heritage Month, the characters are from Syria. So, yeah, I hope I can. I have 3 days left, so hopefully I can watch them. Antonia's Line. I found this at Goodwill. They have a thing where you buy 2, get 1 free. So I picked that up. I might have seen this a long time ago. I just don't remember. And this is one of the feminist film list ones. And this is also, I believe, if not an Oscar international winner, at least a nominee. All right. Okay. Supergirl. This is a horrible movie, but I collect female superhero films. I remember, when did I see this? Was I in England when I saw this? Yeah, it's not good, but I'm still going to revisit it. When I was little and we did Super 8 movies, I was Supergirl because I had the blonde hair, and my friend Tracy was Wonder Woman because she had the dark hair. So, I have a love for Supergirl. Okay, I'm restarting this one. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This was from Martin McDonagh, who is an Irish director who did, the one that was nominated. Put it right here. It was really good. But my favorite that he did was In Bruges. But I really liked this one when I saw it in the theater, so that's why I bought the DVD. W.E. This is a Madonna written and directed movie about the affair between Wallace and King Edward. What was her name? Anyway, he abdicated the throne so that he could marry her. She was an American divorcee. And this is a movie that kind of time jumps. It kind of reminiscent of the Julie and Julia thing, where one person in modern day is inspired by someone from the past. I was an extra in this, so I'm trying to collect all the movies where I did background acting. You can't really see me in it. I think you see the top of my head in one shot. It's an auction scene at Sotheby's auction house in New York. All right. Oh, and the original Wonder Woman. So I rewatched Wonder Woman 1984, and I had picked up one from the library that was like an animated Wonder Woman movie. So yeah, I mean, she's my favorite superhero. All right, and then, okay, I borrowed this from someone at work, someone who used to live in New Orleans. Treme, which is a series that takes place post Katrina, and I watched the first series. I got that from the library. This is the second season. I was a background actor in one of the episodes, and I don't know which episode it is. So one of the characters is a jazz musician in New York. So we were at the I think it was called the Blue Note Cafe, and it was this really nice little jazz bar. And I know what dress I was wearing. It was this shiny blue dress. So hopefully I'll see me. There was one scene where I'm like, oh, I wonder if that was the day we shot. I saw someone with blonde hair, like at the back in the crowd, but I believe I was sitting up next to the bar. So I'm not sure if that was it. So I need to keep watching this series. It's a charming series, so I don't mind watching it. But I really want to see the scene that I was in. All right, and then I've got these 3 movies here. I'm going to make a video on my top 5 favorite films. I've been wanting to do that for like a year, and I haven't done it yet. But you know what? I'm just briefly going to go over it here with you, so you know what my top 5 are in case the video never gets made. My number 1 favorite film of all time, Citizen Kane. I'm not saying that like because I'm a film school snob. I love this movie. I adore it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Second favorite film of all time, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the Indiana Jones 4-pack, which I'm sure there will be a 5-pack coming up soon with the newest movie. But yeah, it was the perfect timing. So there were the people that like loved Star Wars, and I was just a little young at that point, so this was the movie for me. This was the one I saw in the theater over and over and over again. I think I saw it like 8 times in the theater. Raiders of the Lost Ark, just wonderful. Third favorite movie of all time, The Sound of Music, a musical. And I do want to make a musical someday. The songs are great. The scenery is wonderful. It's just a great, great, great movie. Now, the editor of Citizen Kane was the director of The Sound of Music, and that was Robert Wise. And he just does a fantastic job. All right, and then number 4, Sunset Boulevard. It's about Hollywood. Actually, it's about humans because everything just applies to today. You know, it's a 50-year-old movie, I think, 70-year-old movie. It was made in the 50s. And it just still rings true. You know, it's like the human nature. It's so great. Written, directed by Billy Wilder. Billy Wilder's my favorite screenwriter. And about Hollywood and stars and writers. And it's just great. It's great. If you haven't seen Sunset Boulevard, please watch it. And then my 5th favorite movie of all time. I had a hard time figuring out what I was going to pick. But I just kept going back through my DVD collection. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's got to be this one. All right, The Social Network. What is that? Oh, that's my ticket for when I saw it. I was living in New York, and it was at the Kaufman Astoria theaters. And yeah, so The Social Network, directed by David Fincher, written by Aaron Sorkin, about the founding of Facebook. I mean, just all the things that would speak to me. So those are my top 5 favorite films of all time. When I do the video, I've started writing it. It's going to be really in depth. It's going to be like proper reviews and stuff. So, all right, let's see what books are on my TBR. All right, I want to go through this quicker if I can. I noticed I record this on QuickTime and edit in Premiere Rush, and I notice sometimes the longer the clip is, the more out of sync my voice gets. So if there was some like bad lip sync in the last few sections, it's because of what I'm using, basically. So, okay, so books. I, after seeing Blonde, the movie with Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe, I decided that I need to write a Marilyn Monroe movie because all the movies, most of the movies have been written by men and they focus on the tragic Marilyn Monroe and, you know, the sex symbol Marilyn Monroe. And they don't talk about all the work that she put in to get to where she got. You know, it's hard work. And she was a hard worker. And I just want to show that process and hold it up as an example of, you know, you want to be great, you have to do these things. So anyway, I decided to just, you know, because I used to like have all the Marilyn books. I was a huge Marilyn fanatic at one point, and so I know a lot of her story. And Blonde was horrible. Don't watch it. It was made by a director who didn't even like her. Okay. Ugh. And it was based on a book that was like a fantasy version of what they thought her life was like. Yeah, horrible. Anyway, so my script will focus on Marilyn the artist. So I checked out some books from the library. The American Way. This has some chapters about Marilyn. The Many Lives of Marilyn Monroe, written by a woman. And Marilyn, this is a Gloria Steinem book. I read this a long time ago, and I'm just going to refresh my mind. And so I was specifically checking out books written by females. Now, I do have this other one written by a man, Marilyn Monroe, The Quest for an Oscar. This is, I believe, self-published because it needed an editor. It's not a good read. It's really not a good read, but the photos in here are fantastic. Once I'm finished reading it, I'm going to donate it. It's just, I can't have this in my collection. It's written so poorly. Redundancies, loquaciousness, you know, just flowery language, you know, bad grammar. Ugh. Anyway, I thought it sounded like an interesting topic, you know, her quest for an Oscar, but it's really just the author saying, well, you know, this person got one, so why didn't she for this? And like, then he keeps talking about how great she was. It's not good. All right, so some nonfiction stuff. Are Women on the Ground? This is about female reporters in the Arab world, and this again was an American Heritage Month checkout. I've started it. It's good, but I don't know. I don't have time to read a lot. I don't know if I will keep reading it. It's good, but it's also, I know it's going to be kind of depressing. And The Anatomy of Genres by John Truby. I got this, over a year ago? It's been a while. It's dense. You know, I don't know if you have to be this analytical about movies. Like, I don't know if as a screenwriter I really need this. That's kind of a weird thing to say. But it's just, I think it's too much. I'm keeping it. I'm going to read it, but yeah. And then I also, this was gifted to me, the Coffee Break Screenwriter, and this is how you can come up with a screenplay using just like 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes here and there. You know, on your coffee break, just do this next exercise. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try that with the Marilyn script. But right now, those books are like research. I'm just going to do a timeline of where I want to have the movie start and end and what it's going to be about. And then I can go into that book and try to start writing it. And maybe it will be my nano project for 2024. Greenlighting Yourself by Mark Scott Zickery. He hosts The Table. It's one of the groups I belong to in LA. And he greenlights himself, and he's been making a sci-fi series called Space Command. And yeah, these are all the lessons he's learned from being a Hollywood writer for decades and decades and decades. And I need to finish that. I started that a while ago too. This is a common thing in books. I will start them and put them aside and not go back to them. I'm a bad reader. This is the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, history of the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, which is where I spent a lot of my childhood. I love the boardwalk. Every birthday I try to ride the Giant Dipper roller coaster, which is a landmark. I didn't get to it last year, but 2 months away, I'm going to be on that roller coaster. All right, and then fiction books. The Beach by Alex Garland. This was, I think this came before he was even writing film scripts. He wrote 28 Days Later, Sunshine, and then he directed Ex Machina, Annihilation, the series Devs, a movie called Men, and then Civil War, which was out this past month. So yeah, The Beach, I was just interested because I do like his ideas. I think he's a good writer. And can't wait to read that. I think Leonardo DiCaprio was in the movie version of it. This has the library sticker right over the title, Roadside Picnic. This was the book that inspired Tarkovsky's Stalker, which was a movie that my film instructor that said we had to watch all this stuff, she made us watch. I did not like Stalker. I thought it was boring. This was when we were Zooming, because of COVID, so we were watching things online. So I really don't know what other people in the class thought of it. A lot of people love this movie, Stalker, and it's on a lot of lists, but it just did not work for me. I probably will watch it again, just to make sure that I don't like it. All right. This was on my mom's bookshelf, To Kill a Mockingbird. I've seen the movie a couple of times. Great movie. Oh my gosh, this is charming. The writing in this is so good. I think this might have gotten first place on like the poll of best novels of all time or something. I love her writing style. What was her? Harper Lee. Yeah. So I'm very happy to be reading this. What I'm doing is, because I don't have a lot of time, I'll do Pomodoros. So I'll have 15 minutes, then a timer goes off, and then I have 5 minutes to just do general stuff, and then 15 minutes. And so like I can do 3 Pomodoro sessions in an hour. And so one of those sessions is, of course, working on the 99% movie. And then another is reading. And this book, yeah, this is probably going to be the first book I finish this month, if I finish any. All right. All right. And then these are all books in my collection. They're not library books, so I can keep them as long as I want. The Left Hand of Darkness. I got this a while ago, and I'm embarrassed to say it's written by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I thought it was an Octavia Butler novel. And yeah, I was confusing them. I haven't read either of them. There aren't a lot of female science fiction authors. But yeah, so anyway, I've started reading this. It's not really grabbing me, but I'll keep going a little more, give it a chance. But I need to find a good Octavia Butler book. So if you know of any you can recommend, great, thanks. The His Dark Materials trilogy. This is Philip Pullman's Golden Compass, Subtle Knife, and Amber Spyglass books. And I have read, I guess I'm almost done with the second one, or I'm into the third one. I'm not really sure. But there was a movie with Nicole Kidman, and I think I got that at the library. I think I got that at the Goodwill as well, on one of those buy two, get one free. I think it's over on my other shelf. Anyway, I loved the movie with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig, and they didn't continue the series. But then I think it was it the BBC put out like mini series on these, and there are 3 seasons. I saw the first season, loved it, and then I'm like, I can't watch the rest until I've read the books. And the library has all 3 seasons. So as soon as I finish reading this, I'm going to check out all the seasons because I just thought it was really well done. Really great miniseries. Speaking of fantasy trilogies, this is my favorite of all time. It's the Riddlemaster trilogy by Patricia A. McKillop. And I was Googling her the other day and I found out she died in 2022. And I'm really sad because I always thought in my mind I could make these into a movie. But I had questions like about like one of the riddles. And I'm like, oh, well, when I meet her, I can ask her. That's not going to happen. But yeah, it's a lovely trilogy. She was inspired by Tolkien's Lord of the Rings trilogy, but it's her own thing. She's a very kind of poetic writer, but just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then finally, I've had this for a while too, The House of Leaves. This is a horror novel, and it's kind of scary because I've started it a couple times, and I know that I have to read this in the morning. I cannot read this before I go to bed. And I was thinking of doing, making this an October book last year, and I didn't get to it. So maybe it will be a Halloween October book this year. So that's it. That's my TBRs. And that's it for the video. Sorry it went so long. I thought this would be really short, but I guess I had a lot of stuff to talk about. If you've made it this far, thank you. And I will see you probably next month for my next recap video.